Oh, welcome back to the channel. This is just a quick video, just a quick rundown of the things I've read this month, or last month. This is July's reading. Just a little background. I love books. This is a small number of my collection. Most of it's at my mum and dad's house, but I can't fit it here. So I have this bookcase behind me, which is actually in Pete's office because it's the only space to put it. But yeah, so I thought it might be fun, it might be interesting for some of you, just to let you know what I've read this month and what I thought of it and things like that. I have read 3 books this month. The first one was The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the... I can't remember the exact title of the book, that's helpful, where's my phone? Was The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out of a Window and Disappeared, and that's by Jonas. Jonasson. I apologise if I'm saying the name wrong. I don't own this book. They were talking about it at work one day and I'd mentioned that I'd never read it, and they were saying how good it was, and I said that I'd check it out at some point, and then it magically appeared on my desk, so one of the lovely ladies had brought it in for me to read. So I did, obviously, otherwise it wouldn't be on this list. It's quite an old book now, it's been around for a few years. I know a lot of people have already read it. It wasn't one that ever really appeared on my radar, so it just, I don't know. Maybe it's because the title's so long and basically tells you everything that's happened in the book. Maybe that's what put me off. But as I say, I got lent it, so I had to read it. And actually I really enjoyed it. It was funny. The characters were really interesting. I much preferred the modern day bit, you know, after his 100th birthday and he climbs out the window and he disappears. I much prefer those chapters to him looking back and his influence and things on historical events. But yeah, no, as I say, I did enjoy it. I was surprised actually that I enjoyed it quite as much as I did. Obviously having bypassed it for a number of years because I didn't think it was something that would appeal to me very much. But yeah, no, the writing was good. It was funny in patches. The story moved along at a good speed. But yeah, as I say, I just preferred the modern day bits to the historical bits, and I felt that they dragged on a little bit. But it was interesting to see how, I think then, was it Alan? Alan, that's the main guy, isn't it? How Alan's life influenced obvious historical events that we know and that we know of and things like that. So that was good. The second book is behind me. So the second book I read was Through the Looking Glass by Liz Carroll. So that's the sequel to Alice in Wonderland. So on holiday, when we went to Gran Canaria, I read Alice in Wonderland. It's one of those classics that I've been meaning to get around to. I'm not a big classic fan. I've only really just started to get to sort of read some of them. I was always worried as a younger person that they were too wordy for me and I just wouldn't get on with them, and that they'd just be hard work, and I'm not into hard work. When I'm reading a book, I want to get lost and enjoy it. I don't want to feel it's a struggle. But as I say, I read Alice in Wonderland on holiday and enjoyed that one, and my brother has got, I don't know how many copies of Alice in Wonderland and Through the Looking Glass, so he was getting rid of that battered copy, so I pilfered that one from him. I found Through the Looking Glass didn't have quite as much of a story as Alice in Wonderland, so I preferred Alice in Wonderland to Through the Looking Glass. I found that Through the Looking Glass had way too much poetry for my liking. I know sort of majority of the reason for it was nonsense and things. I don't know. I mean, it was an easy read. It's a short book, it's an easy read. I'm glad I've read it so that I could finish off the set, but I would probably recommend Alice in Wonderland over that one. I know that isn't everybody's opinion, but as I say, I found that Alice in Wonderland has more of a story, and that's more what I'm looking for in my books than Through the Looking Glass, which seemed to be a lot of sort of, I guess you'd call them stills, clips, I don't know, single stories, short stories bunched together under one thing. I think there was supposed to be some kind of through piece, which I might have missed because I did accidentally fall asleep on the bus a few times while reading it. So I might have missed some of it in the fact that I will have read the same page or the same sentence about 6 times on one occasion. So I might not have given it as much of a chance as I perhaps should, but as I say, it was okay. I'm glad I've read it, and that's one to tick off the list challenges. Ooh, talking of list challenges, I have created a list, or 2 lists, for my previous year's reading, so I'll put the link below if you want to A, see what I have read, and B, see how much we've got in common, I guess. So for those, and I tend to make one every year after what I've read. Just a little aside there. Anyway, the third and final book that I read in the month of July, and I've nearly dropped it, in the month of July, was one of the Disney Twisted Tales. So I read As Old as Time, which is obviously a reimaging of Beauty and the Beast. I'd heard of the Twisted Tales a few months back when I actually saw a girl read the Little Mermaid one on the tube, and I was like, I wonder what that is, so I looked them up and thought that the ideas could be interesting, but I wasn't entirely convinced that the execution would be. I thought that, and this is nothing against fan fiction, some of it is great, but I thought that it might be a bit fan fiction-y. But when I saw that this, and I bought a second one as well, was cheap in the works, I thought, right, I'll give them a go. I love Disney, I'll give them a go. I picked up Beauty and the Beast one because Beauty and the Beast is my favourite Disney film. So the idea behind this book and how it's twisted and reimaged is that it's Belle's mum who cursed the Beast in the first place. Now, it's not giving away anything in the book, it says it right at the bottom of the front cover. So I'm not giving anything away by telling you that. The author, who I believe is Liz Braswell, and I was actually pleasantly surprised by this book. I think she's a very good writer. She managed to weave in everything that I know from the Disney story, everything I know from the film and all of that, with this new idea. So the book is split into 3 parts. The first part follows the film, so up until when Belle goes into the Beast's castle to get her dad, to get Maurice out. But it alternates, the chapters alternate, because alongside that it's a flashback to when Maurice meets Belle's mum and what's going on in the land and things like that, and how she comes to curse the Beast, which was all really good and really interesting. And then the second part, just get comfy, then is all about Belle trying to help the Beast break the curse. And actually I liked that bit the most because it did answer some of my questions, I guess, that I didn't realise I had from the animated film, about why all of a sudden Belle and the Beast became so close. I know he saved her from the wolves, but that in my head I never understood how she can suddenly fall in love with him from that, because technically she's still a prisoner and all of that. But it also made sense to me about some of the other characters, like Mrs. Potts and things like that, so that was really interesting. And then it just went downhill in the last part. The last part is so far removed from the film that, I don't know, I just didn't, it ruined it slightly for me. I mean, the ending's great and it was an enjoyable read. It's just because everything else was so tied in with the film, I was expecting it to end like the film, I guess, ish. And it goes on its own separate tangent, which I certainly wasn't expecting, so maybe that's a good thing, I don't know. But what can I say? As I say, I was pleasantly surprised though, and I do have the Sleeping Beauty one, which I will probably read this month, so you'll see that in August's book review, assuming that I don't get distracted and pick other ones up. But you'll probably see that in August. And May, depending on what other ones they bring out, I may find some of the others to read. From what I remember online, really only the Beauty and the Beast one because it's my favourite film, and the Sleeping Beauty one because I thought the concept was really good, but we'll go into that on next month. Were the only ones that I wanted to read because I'm not sure about the others. I believe there's a Mulan one which I wasn't into. There might be a Snow White one, but I can't remember. They were the 3 books that I read this month. I tend to read going to and from work on the bus, so that's my prime reading time, but for some reason this month I was kind of sleepy and I kept missing a lot of my journey time because I kept falling asleep. So, but I only tend to read about 1 book a week anyway, so 3 books is still alright going for me. But yeah, I'd love to know what you've been reading, if you want to put that in the comments below. I'm always up for a new book recommendation. And if you've enjoyed this video and want to see more, then please subscribe to the channel, as I'm planning on doing these once a month. So if it's something that you've enjoyed and you want to see more of it, then please click like. And I will see you for the next vlog, which I believe will be the 3rd Gran Canaria one, unless I haven't got this up when I'm planning to. But anyway, hope you've all had a lovely day whenever you're watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!